loss. And we are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the Atheist Ranger. How y'all doing? This has been the January sub. This is the monthly January sub Patreon Hangout. And let me start by saying I apologize for not putting out much content this month, but I've been very, very busy. In my personal life, I recently got a new social worker who, as I told Heretic Woman, is doing more for me in the past 3 weeks than my previous social worker did for me in Delaware in fucking 3 years. So that's why I'm putting out new content.
Speaking of subs, so
yes.
have any of you been getting a hold of my latest videos?
The chess ones?
No.
About the YouTube subscription mandatory thingamajig?
Oh yeah, you have to have 1,000 in order to have something monetized.
Makes me glad I never monetized my channel.
Well,
same here.
I'm up to. But you have a Patreon though.
I do, yeah. It doesn't. I don't have.
How does that work?
Patreons, but
anyway.
Well, that's because they're not connected to the videos.
Yeah, they're not connected to the videos. It's like a separate thing, and you have more control over how things are charged.
What do you have to do for a Patreon?
Go to the site and sign up.
Literally, that's it.
That's all.
And what do? You just say, "Hey, give me some money because I feel like I need it."
They pitch it that you're making a creation, and people are encouraged to support you in making your creation. So that's like it is. It's like a patron of old. In medieval times, like great artists that were prolific in early times, they would have a wealthy patron because, let's face it, especially in ancient times or medieval times, if you weren't rich, you had to spend all of your time making food and making clothes and all of that shit. So how does an artist make art? How do they have time for that? Especially somebody like Da Vinci or Michelangelo, who spent most of their lives creating art. They had a wealthy patron. So, for instance, Catherine de Medici was a very well-known patron. The Medici family in Florence, they were very Cosimo Medici in the 1400s. He was very well known for being a patron of various artists throughout Florence, and that's how they would support themselves. So it's on that same kind of philosophy. Well,
if I knew as much about history as you seem to, I might be somewhere.
I'm a bit of a history.
That's a very interesting story. I got to write all that stuff. I got to take notes next time.
The Medici family are one of the ones that I enjoy reading about. So the Medicis, the Tudors, the Borgias. Those are all fascinating. The Romanovs, they're all very fascinating families.
Well, that's interesting. Well, anyway, I don't know if I could, do a Patreon, and I'm afraid that, like, what am I going to tell these people? What am I going to give them to ask them for money for?
Actually, you can do what was it? You do like chess videos.
Well, yeah, I know, but
yeah. Well, and the thing is. Well, what a lot of people do is they create content that only the patrons can see. Exactly. So you might put out public content that's free, but then you also provide. So a lot of people will provide outtakes, or they'll only put part of an interview out, and they'll save some of an interview that only the patrons can see it. That kind of stuff.
I don't have, when I put out a video, it's a spur of the moment thing. When I have a minute now, I think I'll put out a video, and I don't even edit it or nothing. And I don't even.
Yeah, but that's okay.
So anyway, so what happened was this.
Yes.
For the longest time, right? YouTube had this thing where, you monetize and then you had to reach certain criteria or whatever. But to do extra stuff, like to get paid content, and to what was the other thing? There was two things that you needed 1,000 subscribers for. One was paid content, another one was I forget what, right?
Maybe analytics or something.
No, analytics is there all the time. But
Okay.
I forget now. I did my video on it, and it's in that video. But that was sort of like the thing to stretch to reach for. You know, in order to get these two things, I got to get. It was super chat. So you could be in a live broadcast, and you can people who like you a lot, they can pay you $1 or $2 or whatever, and their comment gets highlighted, and in other words, their comment is not scrolled all over the place. That's which is kind of I've seen it done in some live hangouts, but it's no big deal anyway. But it was something that it was kind of a gimmick, and I was like, yeah, I wish I could get 1,000 subscribers. And the way I explained it in my last video about it was, you reach a certain level. First of all, they want 20,000 hours of view time, or is it 40?
4,000
hours. I'm sorry,
4,000 hours
of view time for the past year.
Yeah,
I have over 8.
There you go.
So that's not a problem. Then they want 1,000 subscribers. At the time, I had 800. So here's the thing. Something is wrong with their calculation. Because what happens is, over the years, you get just so many subscribers. Now, there's a handful of people, I can count on one hand, that I've seen on YouTube, that have jumped, the border of over 1,000. But usually, it's either everybody's under 1,000,
or they're way over.
Got a long way to go, or they've got 10,000 or a freaking million, because their videos are just professional like. But there's hardly anybody just over the border. There's a handful, but that I've seen, that I actually subscribe to a couple, but not many. Because the problem is that unless your content is that kind of professional or whatever, it's not, you basically peter off. The average is like a few hundred. And I've been sitting around 700-800, for the last few years, and it slowly got close to, it got actually close to 900, just in the last year. And then they slapped you with this email. Now, it would have been one thing if the email was nicely worded, but they basically slapped everybody with it. They basically said, by the way, you're fucked. We want 1,000 subscribers. Go fuck yourself. I mean, that's a bad. Well, I'm sorry if I'm cursing out there, but I mean that's essentially how they worded it. Well, they could have said it a lot nicer. But the thing is that 1,000 subscription is a high number.
It is.
Good for anyone.
A friend of mine did a video the other day, and he has a couple of small channels. He does one as a fishing show, and the other one, because he's kind of a science nerd, so he does a sciencey show. And he was saying in his video that at first he was really angry about it because he thought it was stupid. And then he said he thought about it, and what he thinks is that they're trying to protect themselves from people, and this is a problem, people who go to big channels, grab content, set up a channel real quick with someone else's content, make as much money as they can before they get axed, and then run on to the next one. That's what he thinks. Yeah, that's what he thinks the aim is.
There's also content that terms of service and stuff like that.
Yes.
My video mentioned that I agree with their contention, but they're really kind of lying, because there's one guy, DeFranco, what's his name? Phil DeFranco?
Phil DeFranco, yeah.
Yeah, he mentions how, there's a big commercial for something, from a big company that just, oh yeah, sure, go ahead, put your advertising there. You don't get that yellow.
Yes.
And when he tried it, it was like, oh no, your video is not.
Well, it's different because those big companies, they use advertising brokers that actually circumvent the YouTube system completely. YouTube has just given them access because, like, big companies, like, big auto companies, or I forget, because I remember the Phil DeFranco show you're talking about, and it was one YouTuber who had decided to raise money for the victims of the
yes.
Vegas
Two
shooting.
videos I'm talking about, and that
yes,
guy also has subscribed to. He has this like lab or this garage thing where he's got all these cool
yes.
things.
So he had done a video saying all monetization for this video is going to go towards the victims of the shooting. And then YouTube promptly demonetized it. And he's like, what the fuck? I'm trying to help these people. And then the beef was, I think it was one of the late night talk show guy. The only one I watch is Colbert, so I don't know who the other ones are. Jimmy Kimmel, I think it was, had done an ad, a spot talking about the shooting, and some big car company had ads on that video, and YouTube said for the small YouTuber, well, we realize you're trying to do a good thing, and that's great, but our policy is no monetization of a tragedy, and we can't make an exception.
Right, it's actually on the bottom of the thing, but it's exactly what they
did for Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was the beef.
But that was just an example. That was just an example. But this guy is no small YouTuber. He's like 1.5 million subscribers. So that's what I'm saying. Either you have a few hundred or you have like 1 million. You know.
Yeah.
So he doesn't, and he's actually a nice guy for making this kind of video because he doesn't have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Real quick, Nikolai. I mean, I know I'm fucking up that name, but welcome to the Hangout.
Thanks for that. I'm surprised that nobody's commented on about how fucked up my avatar is.
I
couldn't see it until you talked. It was a little small.
I think I better highlight it and see if I could see it.
Well, it's a cat and something else doing a fusion ha.
It's a little kid.
Fusion dance.
Dog.
It's a girl and a dog doing the fusion dance. And if you haven't seen Full Metal Alchemist, you don't get the reference and you don't have good taste in TV.
I don't watch TV. I only stream.
Just by the way, how many people saw I mean, I doubt Heretic Woman saw it, but Donald Trump's State of the Union address.
The Orange Monkey address? No.
Yes. Oh my God.
I was working last night, so I couldn't see it.
Oh,
I
that
have
was
no
fucking
interest.
hilarious.
I cannot watch that man talk, because the minute he starts to talk, I just want to reach through the screen and punch him in the face. So
I honestly think no Democrat, and there were even some Republicans that didn't stand when he was talking.
Un-Canadian of you, Heretic Woman.
What's that, Nicholas?
How un-Canadian of you.
I know.
Assault someone.
We've been over this. I'm the world's shittiest Canadian.
No.
I don't know. You see me like raising on people, so.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I completely agree with you. That son of a bitch is a vile scumbag of the earth, and I don't know how he's even still president.
I know. Yeah, Nicolette, that's one guy that if I bumped into him on the street, I would not say sorry to.
You wouldn't even be able to come that close to him.
Yeah.
Well, if I didn't know it, maybe, but yeah, if
everybody knows who Donald Trump is. Even if he wasn't president, you still wouldn't be able to get close to him.
Oh, I realize that. I'm just saying, like, if he was walking in front of me and I wasn't looking and I didn't know who it was or something like that, you know.
He's the only person in the world who, if he takes Viagra, he gets taller.
By a foot too.
I'm gonna use that.
That's a good one.
He's such a dickhead that.
Oh shit!
And of course, the second that happened, you had Fox News pretty much having an aneurysm.
Yeah, you're a dickhead when.
So they're supposed to stand the whole time he's talking?
No.
Okay.
When
they're not
I guess when he's
obligated
applauding.
Yeah.
Oh, when he's finished. Okay.
Yeah, but he starts with applause.
So what, he just assumes he's going to get a standing ovation? Like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, he started his own applause. He was applauding for himself.
I did hear that. There was a meme somewhere today about that.
Yeah, that's not true. I saw it.
No, I mean, I think what was stupid is that, and I keep having to keep saying this all the fucking time online. Fox News is the last news, well, quote unquote news organization.
I was going to say news.
Yes, and they're the last people to be lecturing anyone on respecting the president after you bashed fucking Obama for 8 years.
Yeah, it's
Oh yeah.
You know, I thought Fox 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I thought Fox News was like full of shit.
Shit.
And they weren't even real news. Now, my God, it's a circus.
Have
It's
you
a soap opera.
Just out of curiosity,
They
have
should just call it Fox the soap opera.
have you
that's all it is.
have you ever just out of curiosity turned to Channel 5 News or Fox News?
No.
Just out of curiosity. I did it just the other
can't-
night. I did it just the other night
they
because I never watch it, and I was there for 3 minutes, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
They don't even have it on regular cable here. You have to buy like a special cable package to see that shit.
Oh, lucky you.
I mean, since Trump has been president, it has turned into the stupidest circus I've ever seen. I can't believe it.
It's a shit show.
It's
Mhm.
I
It could
hate
be
to break it
illegal.
to you, but America was
in fact, it
perceived.
is illegal in Canada.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but America was pretty well perceived as a circus by the rest of the world well before Trump was elected.
I
I know.
kind of gotta agree with them, but
Yeah.
I agree with that totally.
It's just that now instead of trying to hide the fact that it's a circus, they're having parades and telling everybody come to the circus.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah,
it was
don't
when
take
I
it
realized that it was
for
mostly a circus was about the same time I learned what a blowjob was, and that also was from Fox News.
So 9 years old.
I think I was 10.
Oh, lucky
Oh,
you.
There is some really good news. MSNBC, I like. Rachel Maddow is one of my favorites. She's amazing. She's no holds barred. She's like,
I don't watch any news. I read. So I read. There's CBC News. I read, and then I'll read CTV News, which is more local.
Oh, speaking of my favorite lol scout, G-Man.
Yes.
I think Nikolai here knows what I may be talking about. According to G-Man,
How do you still fuck up my name?
did I
Nicola.
fuck it up again?
Yes. Like if I asked you,
Cola, right?
like you can say Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
Nicola.
Yeah, it's
I
spelled
thought that's what I
exactly
said.
the same name.
He's
My
not like
first name is Croatian. I'm literally named after Nikola Tesla.
Okay, Nicola.
He's not
Can I call
named
you-
after
can I call you Nick?
I'll just call him
you're
Nick
not,
from now on.
you're not named after
Just
the
call me
Ricola
Nick or
guy.
the doctor. It doesn't fucking matter.
Okay, the doctor's fine. I was gonna say my favorite lol scout, G-Man. He apparently he thinks the separation of church and state no longer exist.
well, I wouldn't put it past Trump, but
No,
Well, this isn't about Trump because
Yeah.
apparently G-Man.
Has he been reading David Barton or something?
no.
No, G-Man 10 months later saw that Donald Trump signed a quote-unquote religious freedom thing that supposedly got rid of the Johnson Amendment, even though it didn't.
No, that wasn't
everyone in
it.
this
He
room
saw
knows.
a video. He didn't read. He
Oh,
saw
no,
a
he
I
didn't
was
video
going to say.
of Trump promising 8 months ago to repeal the Johnson Amendment, and then typed in Johnson Amendment repealed into Google and linked people to his website called Christianity Today, which said repeal of Johnson Amendment revoked,
Which
Yeah.
means it didn't happen.
right.
which means the Johnson Amendment, which
Oh.
deals with what is it,
Taxes.
501c3 organizations being able to endorse or
Yes.
admonish particular
Promote,
political
yeah.
candidates or give money directly to candidates,
Right,
says that's a no-no of nonprofit
Yeah.
organizations.
right. But I mean,
He somehow
it's
took
probably-
that to mean that the First Amendment no longer exists.
Apparently
Yeah.
G-Man does not know the difference between the
Just goes to
Johnson
show
Amendment
you.
and the Establishment Clause.
It just goes to show you how fucked up Trump is. Who he actually tried to do that.
Yeah. But even if it had, that would mean that religion can promote a specific candidate, not a specific candidate promoting a certain religion.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and even then, it isn't limited. The Johnson Amendment doesn't just concern itself with like religious organizations.
The
It
hour
concerns itself with
it's-
all nonprofits. It would
They're
prevent
all-
Planned Parenthood from endorsing particular candidates.
well,
That's
as,
right.
as a hard-nosed atheist, the hour that I realized that Trump was going to win, I began to have a nervous breakdown, wondering if we're going to become a theocracy.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I
I
burst
mean,
out laughing, and then I checked the immigration website on Canada,
Yeah,
and then I realized
know.
it crashed.
It had indeed.
Yeah.
And that week I got so many PMs from people like, how do I come to Canada? I'm like, here's the website, here's the website, here's the website.
I was so tempted to post on Craigslist that I'd be willing to marry anyone for $10,000.
You should have. Oh
Oh,
man.
fuck.
Except that somebody could have sent that to immigration and then you would have been
Well,
fine.
that, and if I divorced them, then they could get half my shit if I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah,
oh
that too.
crap! Never mind then.
To be fair, though, my stuff is shit, and I
Well,
would
you
gladly
coulda had a-
trade. I would
coulda had a-
gladly trade half my stuff for like a year's worth of free sex.
There
Oh,
you
there
go.
we go.
Well, you could have had
Yeah.
a prenup too.
Yeah.
Could have had a prenup. I mean, I'm guessing mostly you just wouldn't want her to have your dogs, right?
Oh, fuck no! Like you could have my house and my cabin before you had my dogs.
That's what I figured. That's what I
Like
figured.
I don't even like some of my dogs. I don't even think most people would be legally allowed to own.
Yeah, because they're
Like I
hybrids,
actually,
right?
yeah. Well, it was like I got special exceptions for my old dog. We put him down though, but he had cancer in his stomach a couple years ago.
Aw, poor
Um,
guy.
I actually had to get permission from the mayor of my city as well as the premier to own this dog and walk around the town.
Wow.
Why is that?
So was it full half wolf or just part?
He was a second generation wolf hybrid.
Okay,
So like both his parents were wolf hybrids.
hybrids. So he was still half, but not from one of each. I
Yeah.
get it.
But he was fun because like I've had wolf hybrids before and I've had wolves show up at my house before and fancy sticking around. But he basically inherited all the ideal traits of like both wolves and domesticated dogs, which made him
Nice.
just the perfect companion.
Aw.
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been hard to let him go.
Not really, because he was like 12.
Right.
So
And that, I guess they would live not quite as long with the wolf in them. Because I think, isn't most dogs supposed to live around 15? That's sort of the
if you have a
average.
toy breed, maybe.
Oh, okay. I am a cat
Like,
person, so
I got my pit bull sitting right next to me, and like she's got maybe 4 years left before she exceeds her life expectancy.
Right.
So
Okay. No, I just had heard it was
my
around
shepherds have 2
15.
years left, and like my yappy little shit that I want to punt over the fence half the time. He's got another 13, so
Well, I
Aren't
had a
you
cat.
lucky?
I had a cat that I had to put down. In fact, the picture of this cat here that you see, I had to put her down back in November. She ended up with kidney disease, and she was only like around 9 years old.
Aw. Well,
Oh,
we
yeah, my
lost two.
sister's boyfriend had to put his cat down because he had diabetes, and my sister's boyfriend couldn't afford the medication.
We lost two this year. Well, last year. One was 19 and he had lymphoma, and the other one was 20 and she ended up with a bladder tumor.
Yeah, but at least they lived a long time, though. I mean,
Oh,
19
yeah.
and 20, that's long for a cat.
Well,
Yeah.
I've got one right here right now who's turning 20 this year, and he's on medication for heart problems, so I don't know how much longer he's got, but he's happy enough right now, so
Yeah.
So, Heretic Woman,
yes.
since we are obviously live, I'm going to give you kind of an early plug-in. I know that you started a new show. Why don't you tell
I did.
my very small audience about that?
Sure. It's called Full Quranic, and I decided to read the Quran because I don't want anybody else to have to do it. It's kind of my tagline is I'll read the Quran so you don't have to. but I'm doing it a little different. I'm not just opening the Quran and starting to read it. I did some research and I found out that the traditional order that the Quran is in now is not how it was supposed to have originally occurred. So I'm actually reading it in the supposed original chronological order. So
have I got some Muslims to introduce you to?
Oh, yay.
I think Ranger, you met my ex, didn't you?
I
The one hangout that Drag had?
Oh yes, that guy. Yeah.
Girl.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge. I've read 47 chapters now, and like I'm skipping all over the place. So the one like chapter 1 was, I think, 10 chapters in before I got to it, and the one that's like the very last chapter in the Quran, I read that on the first show. So it's skipping all over the place. But what I'm finding is when I'm reading it in this way, it does seem to flow. Like I've never read it the way it is now. I've read parts of it, but I've never read the whole thing.
It's arduous to say the least.
It is. It's a lot more fun when I'm just reading it out loud and I'm making comments as I go, that kind of thing. So I find that more fun. And there's been some things that I looked up, like I've come across words I didn't understand. And I have to say, I'm kicking myself, but I picked the Pickthall translation, which is supposed to be one of the most accepted translations, but the dumbass who did the translation decided to write it in Elizabethan fucking English, even though he wrote it in the 1920s. And I don't know what the fuck was wrong with that guy, but if he was still alive, I would like to smack him upside the head, because I don't know. He must have this idea that it doesn't sound religious unless it sounds like a King James Bible. I don't know, but it's a pain in the ass.
Did you not like take like the English literature in your English courses in high school of that era?
No.
Neither did I.
What the hell is wrong with Down East?
I went to a school that only had 400 students in it. So
fucking hell. You think reading that Quran is hard? Try reading David Hume in the original writing.
Oh, I can imagine. I had a roommate in university who was an English major who was studying Chaucer and all of that. So I have seen it, and my brain kind of goes when I do. But
how many translations have there been of the Quran, out of curiosity?
Oh, there's been a lot of translations. I have 2. So the two English translations that are the most widely accepted are the Marmaduke Pickthall, and he was an Englishman who converted to Islam in the 1910s and wrote the translation in the 1920s. And then there's another guy, Abdullah Yusuf Ali, who is actually an Indian English convert to Islam. I think he probably started off as a Hindu, but he converted to Islam. He is a little bit, I think he's came along later than Pickthall.
I was about to say, personally, I don't see how either one of you find any enjoyment out of reading any of that garbage anyway.
Well, I don't actually enjoy it per se. I enjoy, because let's be honest, I'm coming at it from a very kind of blasphemous point of view, and I'm very clear about that in my first episode. I'm like, look,
I would find it so difficult because I would hate every second of it.
Well, even I don't hate.
Why would you hate every second of it?
You know, I just don't want to read this. Why am I forcing myself to do this? Why don't I just take some bamboo and stick them underneath my fingernails?
Because
if you were choosing of your own volition to open up the book and read it to like understand a position such that you could better critique it, or just out of sheer interest, like you're not forcing yourself at that point.
I don't know.
I have
a habit of throwing out moldy fruit, you know.
Yeah, I just think that because I actively speak out against Islam, I debate it regularly, and I think that I would love to encourage more people to do that, because I think we need to critique it more often. There's this idea that it's somehow a bad thing to critique Islam, and that's bullshit. And I want to encourage people to do it. But I mean, having read what I've read so far, who the hell wants to sit there and read that on your own? So I figured if I can do it sort of like an audio book where people can put me on for half an hour, because I'm only doing half an hour. That's all I can stand. And, you know, sit down for half an hour, read a few chapters. And I do, like, I'll say, well, I think this means X, or I'll say, what, Allah's supposed to know everything and he just asked that stupid question, or, you know, things like that. And I'm very clear that that's my perspective. But I also make the point very early on that because I've debated enough Muslims, I know was that, well, you're interpreting it wrong and you need to go read a commentary or talk to an imam or whatever.
Learn Arabic.
No. Yes, learn Arabic. Yes. In fact, I've done a flow chart of the typical Muslim debate that has all that shit in it. But my thing is, they claim that their God is all-knowing and all-powerful. So if your God is all-knowing and all-powerful, it should be able to make a book that anyone, anywhere can open, read, and understand the point you want them to get.
Yes, but what you don't understand there is Arabic is the ideal and closest to the divine language.
Yes, but you
fucking bullshit.
Yes, but if he created all language, then he should know how to write it in fucking English. So I get it.
Seriously, though, more power to you. And I'm happy that there are people like you doing that.
The thing that I'm wondering though is like, why Islam if you live in Canada?
Because I think it's a bigger problem than people want to admit, and there's such an arrogance about the people that I've talked to who are like, well, you may not like it, but we're going to outbreed you and we're going to take over all of your countries and blah, blah, blah. And there needs to be more voices in opposition. There needs to be more people who say, I've read your bullshit. I understand it. And here's why it's bullshit, and fuck off. Like, I just think there needs to be more critique of it.
Well, it's like typically people will say that, like they'll critique Islam because they think it's the most dangerous in their respective country. And atheists will say that, well, Christianity is the one that has the most influence and most impactful on people's rights, which is why they primarily focus on Christianity. Mm-hmm. But if you sort of take that perspective, then the rational course of action wouldn't be to criticize Islam next. It would be to criticize or learn about or comment about Sikhism.
Yeah.
Which is a fucked up religion, and it's fucked up in a good way.
Right. I've never that's next on my list. I haven't studied Sikhism at all.
Well, before you start studying it, first thing that I would recommend would be type in Jagmeet Singh into YouTube, Ambushed. Because Jagmeet Singh is the head of the NDP, right?
Right, yes.
And he's a Sikh.
Yep.
And he does these town hall things that he calls Jug Meet and Greet.
That's cute, actually.
Yeah, you have to like him just on that merit alone.
Yeah, I like that.
And he's just answering whatever questions the people from the audience have. And then some crazy chick just rushes the stage, grabs the microphone from him, and starts screaming about how, he's this member of the Taliban. He's trying to bring Sharia law to Canada, and he has connections to the Muslim Brotherhood. And he just stands there and lets her go, and he shoos off his security and tells them to stand down and lets her do her rant. Yeah. And he just goes, "We love you, and we thank you for your contribution."
That's awesome.
What's just out of curiosity, what's Sikhism?
Sikhism, I don't know, the best way of putting it would be it's a panentheistic religion. And it's a monotheistic religion to begin with. And of all the monotheistic religions, it is by far the most unique because one of its foundational tenets is sexual equality.
That's cool.
Men and women are equal to one another in every social regard.
Yeah.
Sounds like my kind of religion.
Yeah,
and
it's like-
and honestly, I've never seen or heard
Even-
of Sikhs being misogynistic
well,
either.
here's another reason that you don't really hear about Sikhism in general. One of their other foundational tenets is religious pluralism, which is they are a religion, but they don't claim to have the one and only truth to understand the universe or God or man's purpose in life or anything like that. They say we're all on our different paths and we're all looking for the same answer, and it doesn't matter how we get there so long as we get there.
Right.
That's
So
fucked up for a religion.
that's kind of similar to some Buddhists kind
I
of
was about to say that.
too.
I was about to say sounds a little
Yeah.
like
Well, and it's there. I think that the origins are largely in Pakistan and in that sort of region as well.
Well,
But as I say,
Buddhism
that's-
and Buddhism and Sikhism and I don't know, Aryan Vedas all sort
Yes.
of originated within India. So
Yes.
there are those obvious similarities, but like in Sikhism, they eschew the whole notion of a caste system. They eschew
Yeah.
the idea of reincarnation.
Yeah.
And so as far as monotheistic religions go, it, as far as I can tell, stands entirely alone. It is completely unique.
Yeah.
Everything
I've
from its
never,
conception of God to its foundational tenets.
I wonder the Iranian take this.
Weird.
I've never actually come across a Sikh that I didn't like, to be honest.
I've never
And
met a
I haven't met that many, but the ones that I have, I've always enjoyed talking to them.
There's one that I didn't like, but he didn't give very good blowjobs.
Awesome.
I've never met a Sikh.
You're
but
fired.
I do know
I'm not giving you your $20 now.
I've never met a Sikh, but I do know the stories that I heard during the Iraqi thing, that there was a huge discrimination against the Sikh in the Middle East.
Oh,
Sikh
I don't
in Middle
know.
East?
No,
It was a
like I
Sikh
say,
Are you sure you're not talking about the Yazidi?
It was a Sikh
Oh, yeah.
against the Muslims.
I don't know. I've never heard that, but
Like
I-
in Pakistan, the Sikhs are heavily discriminated against, but that's not in the Middle East.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's East
Maybe
Asia.
I'm just misnaming it because it was many years ago.
It's okay. That's okay. But yeah, so I just recorded my 10th episode last night, so
Nice.
it's coming along,
Is it on YouTube or is it on like iTunes?
It's iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and fullchronic.com. You can listen to it directly from the website as well. Because
Nice.
I didn't see much point in having video of me just sitting there reading. And honestly, too, there's a lot of editing because it's in fucking Elizabethan English, and I ended up twisting my whoso with, therefore, thee, thy, whatever all the time. So,
Hectic woman, real quick, we have a comment from Patrick Thatcher from the live
Yes.
chat. Yes,
Oh, it's the other Patrick.
yes. Well, some of my viewers may know him as Secular Lobster. He said,
yes.
that reading the Quran in a sexy voice, it makes a difference.
Thank you. I'm hoping for some of that too, you know.
So
It
that's
doesn't
why
sound
you're
as
up at 5
rapey.
o'clock this morning, huh, Deb?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like I said, I'm very sort of tongue in cheek with it and a bit blasphemous. So what I learned, because the first 2 episodes, I didn't just start reading. The first episode, I talk a little bit about me and why I'm doing it. And then I read 2 biographies of Muhammad. And so I talk a little bit about Muhammad. And that's some fucked up shit. And then the second episode, I talk about how the Quran came to be as it is now. And I learned about this, and I thought it would be fun to talk about. There's a ritual that Muslims are supposed to do before they do their 5 prayers a day, and before they touch the Quran, or if they're gonna, if you're the kind of person that like reads and traces along with your finger, and you touch the actual words in the Quran, you're supposed to do this purification ritual called wudu. which is great name. It's like do the voodoo. But it's like a ritual washing. So it's not about being physically clean. It's about purifying yourself and approaching the Quran with the right attitude and all of that horseshit. So I did some research about that, and I pardon.
It sounds like some good old witchcraft to me.
Yeah,
no, you have to approach it with the right attitude, by which it's meant you have to have a penis.
Basically. Well,
Yes.
women are allowed to do it. Although if you're on your period, you're actually excused from praying, which is actually kind of a bonus, I think. But, you know, you're not allowed to touch the Quran if you're on your period.
It's kind of fucked up if you're looking forward to that time of the month.
Yeah.
Don't have to go to church.
Yeah, I know. Yay, period. I don't have to pray 5 times a day anymore. and the funniest thing is that so it makes you rich, and you wash like your hands, and every sect, of course, has a different idea of how you're supposed to do this. I watched 12 fucking videos about it, and everyone was telling you to do it a different way, which made me laugh. But the basic stuff of like wash your hands and kind of wash your face, and some of them have you wipe some water on your head, and then there's the Sunnis and the Shia fight over the proper way to wash your feet, but that's a whole other story. And so that's supposed to ritually cleanse you. So the thing is, so if at any time you so if you have to go to the bathroom, then you've negated your ritual purity and you have to do it all over again. If you fart, which I thought was hilarious, because what if you go through all this shit, you go to the mosque, you get on your little prayer rug and you fart, you have to get up and go do it all over again? Is that what happens? Because
I just chuckle and feel sorry for the person behind me.
Yeah, I know, because they're all kneeling down with their asses in the air.
I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
Yeah. It was the imam. But like if you
Look
if
out, he's gonna
honestly,
blow.
as many
Yeah.
Muslims that I hang out with in my day-to-day life, I honestly don't know a single one who does all of that.
this is for the really pious people, I'm sure.
The zealots.
Yeah, like now I do remember years ago I used to work in a factory and there were a number of Muslim women, and I remember that the sinks were always soaked in water because they were, I now know, doing wudu before their prayer, because we did provide a space for them to go do their praying when they needed to do that. So that turned out to be what that was. Whether I was like, why is there always water all over the fucking counter? Well, it's because they're washing everything all the time. But and then if you have sex, you have to. And see, now wudu is like a partial thing. It's like the base minimum that you have to do. But there's also another one called ghusl, and that's like a full, you got to strip down, get in a tub and wash all over and whatever. So if you have sex before the next time you pray, you have to do wudu. But if you ejaculate or quote have emissions, so some ladies do that, then you got to go for the full ghusl. You got to get in the tub and wash all that shit off. So that's just me. And if you fall asleep, or if you are unconscious at any time, you have to go and do wudu. I guess because of impure thoughts while you're unconscious. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. But that was a big one. I was like, what if you get there and you're, and then you fart and you have to do it all over again? That made me laugh. Oh. And so in my show, what I've done is, instead of I make mention of wudu on every episode, but I do my ritual purification with wine and bacon.
There you go.
You heathen.
I know. I got a really nice audio clip.
At the very least, it better be Canadian bacon.
Well, Schneider's, does that count? I'm not a big fan of.
You have just revoked your citizenship.
What did I tell you? I don't even like hockey or Tim Hortons.
You can go off to your Moldovan country.
You don't like hockey?
I hate hockey.
What
The
kind
only
of
time
Canadian are you?
the
The shitty
shittiest
one.
Canadian, the shitty one.
There we go.
I'm an American.
don't-
I love hockey.
I don't like Tim Hortons. I fucking hate winter. I don't like the Tragically
Okay,
Hip.
no,
don't-
that's fighting words. You say you don't like
I
Tim
know.
Hortons? Fuck you.
Nope.
Like,
No,
I don't drink. I don't drink coffee either. It's like
you don't have to drink the coffee. You have
You
to
know
just
what?
appreciate the gourmet donuts.
Time out.
Okay.
Heretic. I was about to say that's okay. I don't like hockey either. But just before I said it, you said you don't like coffee. I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
No, I don't. I do
I don't
love.
like
I
coffee
do.
either.
But Nicola, I do love me some honey crullers.
There you go. Do you at least like Kraft dinner and cheese?
Oh hell yeah!
Oh, there you go. There's a redeeming thing.
Mac and cheese.
Idiot.
Mac and cheese is like my favorite food on the planet.
So what
For
is
sure.
Tim
So-
Hortons? Is that a restaurant or?
No,
It's a coffee.
like
It's a coffee chain like Starbucks, except our coffee
there's
is way
one-
better, and the donuts are like gourmet made.
and
Oh.
there's one almost literally on every corner.
Kind
If
of like
not-
the McDonald's here in the States. You know,
Yeah.
there's like a McDonald's on every other corner. It seems like.
There actually is a rule for Tim Hortons is that for every town that has 10,000 or plus people, there will be at least one Tim Hortons. And after that, one Tim Hortons every 45 minutes down the road.
Well, where I grew up,
Mhm.
when I was a kid, there was a bar literally almost on every corner. Almost. If it wasn't on the
Yeah.
next corner, it was the next block over. But
Yeah, same here where I used to live.
What made me laugh, there was a block in town here. Now, one of them has since left, but for a number of years, there was on one corner, there was a Tim Hortons that was a dine-in only. It didn't have a drive-through. And then literally less than a block down the street, there was another Tim Hortons that was only drive-through and no dine-in.
okay, well, that's kind of weird.
But the one without the drive-through closed down a few years ago, so there's just the drive-through only one.
That's weird. We actually got rid of a lot of the drive-thrus and we just made walk-throughs.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Walk up to the
That-
window, drunk as shit. You order your coffee, pay for it, and walk away.
Or you drive through it if you're drunk.
Yeah.
Be super
Drive
drunk to
through
like
the
mount
restaurant.
the curb and go onto the sidewalk.
That's what happens here in the States. People, for some reason, they just end up going through stores or
Okay, in the
no
States,
reason.
you have Florida.
Yeah.
So, like I've read headlines where it's like Florida man arrested for drunk driving after confusing Taco Bell drive-through with drive-through ATM.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think we've had that problem before.
To be fair, though, in Saskatchewan, if you ever read local newspapers, one of the funnest ones that I've ever had was we went up to Gateway City. We were having like this kind of school reunion. One of our buddies hadn't shown up yet, and he ended up getting arrested by the police. The headline in the local news the next day was "Naked man arrested for biting police dog."
Nice.
Oh, did
He
you?
got high as shit, drove down the highway and had the police chasing him, got out of the car, was totally naked, and eventually they set the dogs upon him, and he wrestled the dog down and started biting the dog.
Oh, jeez. Well,
Okay.
speaking of weird stories with naked high people, I don't know if it made it to Saskatchewan, Nicola, but did you hear about the weird situation in Ontario? It was Alberta. It was Alberta. And it was a family of, get this, Jehovah Witnesses. They had there was I think a husband and a wife and one teenage daughter.
Was
And
this the
then
family that went to the nudist colony.
no,
Oh.
this is even better. And then their next door neighbor, who are also Jehovah Witnesses, the mother and another teenage daughter went over to the first family's house for breakfast. And they decided to have some tea that one of the families had brought home from Asia or South America or somewhere they'd been traveling.
Definitely South America. Definitely Brazil.
And next thing you know, they're all in a van naked. They go to another neighbor's house and kidnap a man, his daughter, and baby grandchild, stuff them in a van, and they're driving around with this terrified family naked in a van. And they end up crashing, and the clothed people managed to get away. And so the headline was like, naked kidnappers terrorize local family, and they're all Jehovah's Witnesses. And the husband of the one woman and the father, like the teenage girls weren't charged because they were minors, but the three adults were charged. And the husband of one is like, they just went over for breakfast and they had tea, you know.
Yeah, charged with what?
Sounds like my last family
kidnapping. I think there was a.
They weren't all there though when they were doing it. They didn't know they were high.
Well, but there's a discrepancy. Like the official story, they're not saying that they were high. This is what their friends and family are saying, is that
spirits came over them.
They had this weird tea, and that must have been it, kind of thing. But there's been no confirmation that anything like that actually happened.
Well, then take a blood sample or a hair test or something.
Oh, I know. I'm sure they have, but it only happened in October and November, so the talk screens may not be back yet.
Getting high and getting naked, man, that sounds like my last family reunion.
No, like it's accidentally getting high.
Yes, and then I just laughed when they said they were all devout Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm like, whoa, good luck explaining that to the elders.
Like, this is the worst people for this to happen to.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if it was just a group of teenagers, they'd at least have some idea of what it was they were experiencing, and they'd have enough sense not to like go out of the house.
Exactly. Yeah, these people didn't know what the fuck they were doing, apparently. And I'm wondering, is that worthy of disfellowshipment? Or are they gonna have to like grovel back into the church now?
They'll have to do a bunch of extra evangelizing.
Probably, yes.
But
once they get, well, if they're locked up, they could go cell to cell, maybe.
Did you notice that I sneezed in the Jehovah's Witness?
The what, sorry?
I said, did you notice when I sneezed, it was right after you said Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah. You're allergic.
I think so, because I'm still...
I really, really grew to dislike the Jehovah's Witnesses because I used to work for the power company in Saskatchewan, and my job was reading the electric meters. So I'd have to go door to door and knock on people's doors. People see, like you're wearing the power company uniform. They go, oh, government worker, so they open the door.
Yeah.
And the Jehovah's Witnesses would wait and then follow us around.
Oh, those fuckers, because they think, oh, you've come back for something. Oh.
No, it's not just that they come back. It's now they definitely know you're home.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. That's brutal. See, I would have been like, go home or I'm going to put a hex on you.
I just opened the door naked.
Well, I had
peek out the window. Are they Jehovah's Witnesses? Yeah, okay, I'm taking my pants off.
I had a friend, I don't know if he actually did this, but he told me that he saw them coming once and he answered the door naked with gay porn on in the background. So I don't know if he actually did it, but that would have been really funny.
Oh, jeez.
But I don't know. They haven't come here in a couple of years, so maybe I'm blackballed.
I know, a lot, like 10, 15 years ago.
Well, a couple of years ago, we got them.
They were here, and I was getting tired of it. I was all polite to them and shit. But recently, in the last few years, the last 5 years or so, I haven't seen a.
Yeah, I can't wait for some Mormons to come over because I always want to greet them with one of their secret handshakes and watch them freak out.
I always love it when like some 16-year-old kid comes to the door and introduces himself as an elder.
Yes.
Like, oh, well, really? Let me introduce you to my grandpa, who's an 80-year-old Aboriginal man. Let's see how he takes to you. Yeah, let's see how he takes to you calling yourself an elder, white boy.
Yeah. Well, they would have to be at least 18, I think, before they're allowed to go proselytizing. But yeah. That always made me laugh too.
They
It's
have
like
to be accompanied by someone who's 18.
but they're not allowed to go on a mission until they're 18.
Yeah, like, and going on a mission would be like going off somewhere to like another country or something.
Well, but that's they have local missions as
Yeah, they
well.
have like missions within the cities and stuff. That's just like proper evangelizing to people, trying to recruit people. It's not just door knocking.
I'm not familiar with anybody being allowed to do that under 18.
The door knocking?
Yeah.
I am.
Okay.
I have a friend of mine who is a Mormon, and
yeah.
she's disabled, and she has elders come over to do like yard work and stuff.
Yep.
I think they have to be 18.
I think so.
We had them do that too. They offer.
Oh, they're supposed to. Yeah, absolutely. I would feel kind of shitty though, I think, if I made them do yard work and then was like, now let me tell you why your religion is full of shit.
Well, I don't feel shitty because I give them a full disclosure. Like, look, man, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God in general. So if you're going to argue for your religion, good luck with that one. You're going to have to prove that first point first before we consider which God it is. They go, oh, okay, do you need any help with anything? Well, if you want, you can mow my yard. Like,
I see.
It's not going to change my attitude, so.
We don't really have a yard, so it's really not a big deal. But they haven't come here. And there for one summer, there was definitely a mission house nearby because I used to see them walking on the other side of the street, down the street all the time. But they would never come over here. And I never could figure out why.
Sounds like a Mormon version of a safe house.
Yeah. That's just
where the Mormons go undercover.
Yep. That's just where they make them go live.
Oh, did you guys hear the story about I think Google, like a lot of Christians are up in arms because apparently Google Home isn't recognizing the term Jesus Christ as God.
I saw one of those videos. I'm like, really? Are you fucking kidding me?
What?
Yeah, the one I saw was this woman, and she said, "Jesus,
who is Jesus Christ?"
Yeah, well, first she says like, "Hey Google, who's Muhammad?" And so it does the spiel about Muhammad, and then it's like, "Hey Google, who's Buddha?" And then it gives like a spiel about Buddha, and then she's like, "Hey Google, who's Jesus Christ?" It's like, I'm unable to help you with that, and she gets all pissed off, and she's, well, let's try it again. Without the Christ, and then she says, "Hey Google, who's Jesus?" And like, "Oh, I'm unable to help you with that." She's like, "It's discrimination." La, 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 la. I was like, "Oh, for fuck."
I kind of take that as tongue in cheek because she shouldn't be asking Google. She should be praying to God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, you want to know who Jesus is? Go to church.
So why is that?
I'm thinking it's a deliberate thing because the church or the powers that be of the Christianity probably don't think it's right for Google to have any real answers. They want her to go to the church. So when Google says I can't help you with that, they mean they've been nudged by the powers that be.
Or maybe Google Home is an atheist.
Google Home is an atheist, or another way of putting it is Google intentionally did it just to get attention. Like,
no, that's true.
Could just be that the program was incomplete. Like,
well,
that you wouldn't consider someone asking who was Jesus Christ, especially if you're a North American-based company where everyone knows who Jesus Christ was.
Well, yeah, but none of that. I think the article I have here now, apparently if you ask the Alexa from Amazon, Alexa will tell you that he's a fictional character.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
Oh, I got to try that.
I'm going to try it right now.
Hold on.
I'm going to try it right now. Who is
Alexa? Who is Jesus Christ?
Patrick Thacker.
What I found on Wikipedia.
God, I'm supposed to be the lobster, man.
Or Jesus Christ. was a Jewish preacher and religious leader who is the
Can you hear
central
me?
figure of Christianity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Christians
Okay.
believe him to be the Son of God and the awaited Messiah, Christ, prophesied in the Old Testament.
I got an answer.
Uh,
I got an
she
answer. I
didn't-
don't know where this woman you're talking about. You know, first one I got was who is Jesus?
I think last I heard is
.org.
the last I heard it was supposed to be fixed since the complaint started.
Unlike
so I
any
don't
other
know.
human, Jesus lived in heaven as a spirit person before he was born on earth. He was God's okay, whatever.
Yeah, who
Yeah.
cares?
Well, see, you gotta have a sense of humor when you watch a lot of this shit, you know, or you read it.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
What's up, other Patrick?
Festa, don't start, man.
I just what's the matter
No,
with that? You don't like our
because-
name?
Lobster.
No, that's not the point. You know it, and we can go there if you want, but you don't want to, and that's why I didn't
You're
come in
already
earlier.
appropriating his name.
Okay,
But-
all right, whatever. Okay.
Anyway,
I'm being happy-go-lucky, and you're being
no, I'm telling you something that I've told you before. It's done. It's over, and it's not even whatever
I have
anymore.
no
But
idea.
anyway, that's not why I came in. That's not why I came in. But
Whatever,
I
continue.
did actually come in to agree with Patrick in a little bit of a way. You read it sometimes and you're like, "Fuck, this is just," and you want to put it down, but there comes to that point where you have to have a sense of humor about it, or when people take it philosophically, when people take it anyway, but complete bullshit. I just make fun of it because it's just people make up shit as they go along. People interpret anything the way they want to interpret. So yeah, with some people, whatever you do to ridicule religion is all right with me.
I just think it would have been funny if you say, Alexa, who's Jesus, and she said fictional character, blah blah blah, and that would have been funny. But nah, all right.
I always tell
Would,
people,
though. Seriously, that would be awesome.
I always tell people, I'm Italian, so I was raised Roman Catholic. But the thing is that the church that I used to go to as a child was BS, Blessed Sacrament. So it was always known as BS. And I never got the joke until I was, 10-ish to 11-ish. I'm like, oh, BS.
We got churches like Blessed Sacrament of the Blood, and the Catholic churches, and the one that had the I don't know, fucking dirty stain on the cross down on Mineral Spring Road that actually made national news about 5 years ago when I first came out here. The Church of the Immaculate Conception, right?
Yeah, well,
And there's some, and I can't think of it right now, but there's some really freaky, weird, I think, kind of sick and sadistic fucking names of Catholic churches out here. It's like, the Church of the Crucifixion, and it's all. I don't know. I kind of find it creepy, when I drive by and see the name of some of these Catholic churches,
Oh yeah, some of them are really gross.
I know.
Yeah.
What's funny about this church is that it had radiant heat on the sidewalk. So when it snowed, like in front of the church, it was always clear and melted. And you would think that, somebody's out there shoveling. But one day I realized that it was snowing and it was melting while it was hitting that particular front of the church. I'm like, oh my God, they got radiant heat on their fucking sidewalk.
Oh, jeez. And they're gonna
What'd
say
you
it's Jesus. But no, Catholics are really, some of their shit's really, like, they parade around dead body parts. Like there's like the emasticated arm of some dude making a tour of Canada right now. And they're showing pictures of it, and it's Saint whatever's arm, and I'm like, that's disgusting. Like,
Yeah.
who wants to go look at some like mummified arm?
Yeah.
Well, it's all about dead zombies and blood, and
Yep.
and then when you say something about, well, the Abrahamic religions are mostly based on blood. And they're like, no, it's not. Prove it. How can you say that? And I'm like, are you washed
What the
in
fuck
the
is
blood of
communion?
Jesus?
Jesus. Yep.
Yeah.
Passover. Anyone?
You know, I used to
Kosher,
be
halal.
I used to be in this like support group for people with issues and stuff like that in the community, and I got out of it because there were these people that were in the group, right? And every fucking thing had to do with Jesus and how Jesus has touched their life, and without Jesus, and they were like making these bracelets, right? They had like different colors and shit like that, you know, and they're like, white is for the purity of, and then red is for the blood that Jesus shed for you. And I'm like, that's disgusting. You know what I mean? Hepatitis, you know, I mean, but you know, what's sanitation, you know, but I don't know. So I'll shut up for a few minutes. I need to get a cup of coffee. I just wanted to come in and rant for a minute.
That's all right.
I need coffee. So how you doing, Patrick? Seriously.
I'm all right, Elder Patrick.
Okay. You're looking
That's
good.
I'm all right no matter what they say about me. I had a hectic day.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, you look good right now.
Thank you.
You know?
I had a really hectic day, though. I'm not going to tell you what it was.
Oh.
Yeah.
It has to do with taking care of my father.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, I don't know if we have any stand-up comedians fans in this room, but Gabriel Iglesias is coming to Vermont.
Who's
Oh,
that?
cool.
Big fluffy guy.
Yeah, big fluffy guy.
I'm not fat, I'm fluffy.
Yeah.
I've not heard of that person before.
He's
fun.
He's fun.
He's
A lot
fat
of the comics still do the same act for like, and it's hard to write good comedy and stuff like that. But a lot of like Robin Williams after a while. I mean, I love Robin Williams stand up. You know, Mork and Mindy, classic show that you know should be immortalized. But a lot of his comedy was pretty much the same. You know, I mean, it was off the cut. You know, it was totally ad lib and stuff. But if you watched him at one time, you probably you know what I mean. You saw pretty much every show in a lot of ways. You know.
I've always liked Robin Williams.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was spontaneous at times.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Of course, Mork and Mindy was just ridiculous. But
I love Mork and Mindy. Oh,
I had the
so
rainbow
funny.
suspenders and everything, man. He used to walk around going no and all that shit, you know.
No.
Of course, I am easily.
Well,
Yeah,
it's funny because I'm a big Star Trek fan, but I actually learned how to do that from watching Mork.
Yeah.
I actually learned how to do this in grammar school, and when I couldn't do it with both hands, I used to put my the space over the desk and just hold it there for like for the entire class. And by the end of the day, I was like doing it, and I was never unable to do it after that. In other words, I was always able to do it after grammar school. It was easy for me, both hands.
Yeah, that's why I started to figure out how to do it though, because I was like, I want to do nani.
You just have to put something like the desk that you're sitting at, between your fingers.
No, I just figured out how to do it on my own, like so. I don't know. Oh, I love that.
Grammar school for me was like freaking 50 years ago. So half a century ago.
For me, it was when I was there when Mork was on. So yeah. I used to think when I was a kid, I was like, "Can I have an egg ship?" Of course, when I was that age, I thought the Dukes of Hazzard were funny too, and I used to try to climb through the card window and piss my mom off all the time. It's like, will you use the door? I'm like, I don't want to use the door.
I love that show.
I couldn't watch it now. I don't think I could because I would be too annoyed by all of the ridiculous, like stereotypical
all those old shows,
sexism and racism and shit would probably piss me off.
All those old shows are like that. It's like, oh my God, I used to
yeah.
like this show, you know, including Beverly Hillbillies. It's like, oh my God, I used to like this show.
Well, I just saw good news on Twitter. I'm pretty sure the Drunken Peasants are going to be continuing. About 80% sure. So
I don't follow them. Was there a problem with their show?
Well, for a while it was the show was kind of on hiatus because of a lot of infighting between TJ and Ben. Yeah. Anywho, it is 10:40 where I'm at, and I got to get up at 7 in the morning for work.
Dude.
Yeah. So as always, I will. Well, unfortunately, Secular Lobster is away right now.
Getting coffee, but
yeah.
But what was his thing about me joking around the other Patrick thing? What was his problem? I don't remember any. I don't know.
I don't know, and who cares? Heretic Woman, let's plug your crap.
Okay, well, first of all, and I'm quite excited about this. My main show, of course, is Beyond the Trailer Park, and normally we're Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, but tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, we are excited to be talking to David Silverman about the upcoming American Atheist Convention. So you can, if you have the time, you can definitely tune into that. And yes. Yes. And then on Monday, so it's a bonus show. And Monday, we're going to be talking to Esther Palmer, who was formerly of the FLDS out in Bountiful, BC. So we're really excited to talk to her as well. And she was part of the sect that followed Warren Jeffs. So she's got quite the story to tell. So that's Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So 2 shows this week. And of course, Full Quranic, which you can find at www.fullquranic.com or iTunes, Google Plus, or Stitcher. And I usually produce a new episode every Friday, so you can look for that if you're interested in what is in the Quran and you don't want to read that shit yourself. I'll do it for you. It's okay. You can listen. So there's that. And then Sundays at 12:05 a.m., you can find me on Holy Crap, the Vlogcast, which is holycrapthevlogcast.com. So there we go.
Oh, here he is. He's back. Patrick.
I thought I was off camera. Oh.
No problem. We're actually about to wrap up here. You want to plug your channel?
Yes, absolutely. Don't subscribe to my channel. My channel sucks. So do my videos. I am right now. I finished uploading, and I'm gonna do a little bit of voice stuff and on-camera stuff with it too. But Jim Baker's Christmas special last year, the famous one with the buckets.
Nice.
I'm food. I'm gonna
Lordy,
break that down in a way that maybe somebody has never seen before, a little hardcore style. So.
All righty, cool. Yeah. Matt.
I don't care.
Matt, do you remind me again? Do you not produce content?
Nah, not yet. I'm working on it though.
Okay.
I do host the show with you, and that's on hiatus right now. That should be back in a couple of weeks.
Yes, it should.
It is on hiatus at the current moment, at the present time, but it should.
Hey, what's in the bottle?
What's in the bottle? I'm not very exciting. It's water.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
The doctor, do you have anything to plug?
For me?
Nicola.
Nothing at the moment, no.
Okay.
There's stuff that I'm working on, but I'm even debating as to whether or not to really make it public on Hangout forums because I want to keep it kind of separate.
Gotcha. Patrick, go ahead.
Oh, I already said the doctor. Okay. I think the only thing I want to plug is this new thing about YouTube's subscription mandatory 1,000 subscribers. I'm begging for subscribers, and as soon as I get the notification that you subscribe, I do subscribe back, knowing that everybody's sort of in the same boat. So please subscribe.
If you subscribe to my channel, I will come to your house, wash your car, and shave your cat.
I better not subscribe.
Oh, sweet! I'm pretty sure I subscribed to you a year or so ago.
Same
so
here.
You're overdue, man. And I have 3 cats.
Hey.
All right. Well, I've been your host, Atheist Ranger. The only thing I have to plug is obviously I'm the co-host of Packard Pokesat. Unfortunately, that podcast is on hiatus at the moment because Packard had to move rather abruptly. But me and Matt are still keeping in contact with him.
There you go, doxing somebody else.
Also, I have a Patreon. I forgot to add it down below, but when this video uploads, my Patreon will be in the description box below. You'll see numerous rewards. Donate if you want to, or don't. I really don't care. And that's pretty much it. Y'all have a good night.